Hi everyone! Long time no talk. It has been forever since I've sat down and just like talked casually, so I'm super excited for this video. If you guys are new here, hello, my name's Emma. I just returned back to America. I was teaching English in Ukraine over the summer, and so that's just kind of what this video is about. I'm going to sit down, talk about my experience, the program that I went. I always got a lot of questions about that, whether I was like going with school or studying abroad or like some third-party organization, so I'm going to talk about that, what it was like over there, and then I also asked you guys for questions, so I'm going to kind of like focus what I talk about on the questions that you guys asked, because you asked quite a lot. So I'm super excited for this video. If you guys watch my videos regularly, you would know that like this summer has been a little bit more difficult for me in regards to just like filming and editing videos, because I was very busy in Ukraine. I was teaching English 4 hours a week, and then you have to plan lessons, and then we did have a lot of free time, but I lived with 9 other girls, so we were just in this big room together, and there was very little / no like personal privacy alone time, so it was definitely a little bit more difficult, but I was just trying to be more present, and so I didn't really worry about like consistency and uploading videos. But my past couple have all been like travel vlogs. I got to travel a lot when I was there. I went to 13 countries, which is awesome, and I added them all on my little map in the back. I love it. I think it's so fun. Yeah, a lot of it was like more travel based. Early on it was a little bit more teaching based, but once we moved to summer camp and we all lived together, I just wasn't really comfortable like vlogging, and honestly didn't really want to. I just wanted to enjoy the people and kids and my time that was there, because I miss it so much already. So yeah. Okay, so I think I'm just gonna go ahead and start off with the program that I went with. It was not affiliated with my university. I found it on Instagram actually about 1.5 years ago. So I went and checked out their website and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And so I applied, and here I am, you know, after the experience. Yeah, international language program. They are based out in Utah. Their headquarters are there, and a lot of the volunteers who go are from like Utah, Arizona, Idaho, out west. So I was the only person from like the east side of the US. Actually, there was one girl from Wisconsin, but to be honest, I don't really know where that is on a map, but I think it's more east. Yeah, basically ILP is just tries to create like a meaningful semester abroad. I have friends who have studied abroad, and I feel like their experience was very different than mine, because I wasn't necessarily studying. I was teaching and trying to just, I don't know, immerse myself in a new culture, and I wasn't like focused on the college study abroad experience necessarily. Basically, they just want you to like actually live in a foreign country for a longer period of time, so that you actually become like acclimated with the culture and the people, whereas like study abroads are often, you know, like a week or 6 weeks, or I mean there are semesters abroad obviously, so that's a little bit different. They have a ton of locations. Ukraine was actually not my first choice. Thailand was, but Thailand's actually really difficult to get into. So then I was like, okay, whatever, I'll just go to Europe so that I can travel around Europe. And I was accepted into Ukraine in January. So I was on the wait list from like May to January, so a pretty long time. I didn't know if I would end up getting a spot, but I did, and a lot of people found out in January that they were going to Ukraine. So if you get if you've applied or are thinking about applying and you get waitlisted, don't worry about it. Like there's gonna be a spot for you. Otherwise you just like defer to a later semester. So yeah, I've had a lot of questions about ILP and people who are like thinking about doing it. And if you're thinking about doing it, do it. Seriously, the best decision of my life. Like the best 3 months, best summer. Like it was just the best time. I've never been so happy and so content with life, and it was just an amazing experience. I lived with the host family my first month, so I got to kind of like, you know, talk with the kids, and I talked with my host mom a lot about like politics and their government and just like the way that they live. And then we moved out to summer camp, and I got to talk to like our local coordinators a little bit more, and it's just a really neat experience to actually live somewhere and like understand their culture and their politics and their government and their way of living and their superstitions. Ukraine is so superstitious, but there's just like so many different things that like is so different from here in America, so it's just super cool to experience that. And yeah, they go like all over. They go to Thailand, they go to China, they go to Uganda, they go to Costa Rica, Nicaragua, they go to like Russia, Ukraine, Lithuania, Montenegro, They go to Mexico, they go to like a bunch of different places. If you go to their website, I'll link it down below, it has like all the countries. But yeah, it's just an amazing program. I would highly recommend it. So that's who I went with. It wasn't affiliated with my school, but I ended up getting 3 credits for it as experiential learning. So instead of like an internship or study abroad, it counted, which was awesome because honestly I think it's more beneficial and better than a study abroad, and it costs way less. Okay, someone asked about the ILP process, so I'll just run over this quick. Basically, you apply and then you're assigned like a representative. They call you, they have like a little interview, so they'll ask you questions like, what's your greatest weaknesses? What's your good strength? You know, what would you do in this sort of situation? And then they'll like text you and ask you questions as well. There's an ILP code of conduct that you have to follow, like no smoking, no drinking, you know, you can't like date anyone in your group or any locals, like a bunch of stuff like that. And yeah, that's really it. It's pretty it's not really like intimidating or anything, and pretty much everyone who applies gets accepted, so it's not really a big deal. Also, another thing, people were asking if I went by myself or if I went with school / like someone else. I did go by myself. That's how I would recommend you go, especially with ILP. Like, don't go with a friend, go by yourself. You're just gonna be more willing to open yourself up and to talk to everyone instead of just like having your best buddy, and then you just won't get to know the other girls as well, or guys. Guys and girls can go, by the way. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend going with a friend. I'd go by yourself. Just having best friends too completely changes the dynamic of the group. So I just think it's cool that like we all had strangers and we all got to know each other pretty well. So yeah. Okay, so budgets and expenses. I had a lot of people ask me about this, like how I was affording it and how much it costs and stuff. I did the exchange program through ILP, which is a cheaper program. They also have humanitarian, which is where you pay a little bit more, like $1,000 to like $3,000 more, just depending on the country that you go to. I had money saved up. I mean, I've worked since I was like 10. I had a paper route, and then I started YouTube, and then I had a job at a movie theater. Then I worked at the dance store, so like I've had an income for a really long time. I'm also a saver. I really don't spend money on a lot of stuff. Like, I don't really buy new clothes. I don't go out to eat a lot. I don't buy like expensive coffee drinks for myself. Like, I really just don't spend a lot of money. So I had a lot of savings before I left. I also have gone to a community college the past 2 years. My dad paid for my first year, and then I got a full ride for my second year. Community college, I'm such a proponent. I love it. It's definitely the way to go, especially to get your associate's degree, and then you can move on to a 4-year degree if you feel like it. I also lived at home the past 2 years, so I am moving out actually this weekend. So I have a new house, and you know, I'm paying for rent and utilities and food and all that kind of stuff. But the past, you know, 20 years of my life, I didn't have to pay for any of that. So yeah, I just worked and I saved my money, and with ILP you can actually set up like a payment plan. So I paid like $444 like every month, so it's more spaced out and it's not as like, I don't know, like $2,500 in one time. Like, you don't have to do that, which is awesome. And then while I was over there, I spent about $2,500. We did 2 weekend trips to London and Krakow, Poland, and then we had a 2-week vacation. So I spent about $1,100 on the 2-week, I think, with flights and lodging and food and excursions and stuff like that. And then the rest of the money I spent on snacks, because Ukraine has a lot of potatoes and buckwheat and meat and just stuff that I didn't love all the time. So I would buy snacks and chocolate and McDonald's and stuff like that. Plus I was there during the summer, so everything was a little bit more expensive. So yeah, like $2,000 to $2,500 is what I think you need to have a good semester, because some girls had like $1,000 or $1,500, and they were just like had a really tight budget, and obviously they still had a lot of fun, but they weren't able, I don't know, I just felt like I was able to do everything that I wanted to do, and I wasn't really worried about like sticking to a strict budget, and I was able to just like enjoy my time better. Okay, and then another thing with ILP, someone asked if there's an age limit / how old are most of the teachers. I think it's 18 to like 24 or 25. They want you to be like kind of around the same age. So we were 18 to 21 for the volunteers, and then our head teachers were 22 and 24. They were a married couple. If you could go back, would you do this program again? Heck yes. I'm actually planning on going to China in the fall to be a head teacher if all goes well. I won't apply until like January or February because I'm actually graduating college now this summer. I have pushed everything forward, so I'm just going to finish my bachelor's this coming summer. So I only have 3 semesters left, but I have to make sure that I can take all the classes that I need to take in the spring semester, and then like my I just have to take like a bunch of random classes to get to the 120 credit hours that you need to graduate. So I'll probably take like random classes in the summer, and then I'll graduate early August, and then I'll hopefully go to China in like late August. So yes, I would definitely do this program again. I might even do it again after China. I don't know, it depends like how I like being a head teacher, but it's just amazing. So yes, I will definitely be doing it again. Was the adjustment to a whole new country with completely different lifestyle easy? I would say for the most part it was easy. I don't know, I really just didn't have any trouble getting acclimated to Ukraine. I mean, I think the biggest thing is the language barrier. Not a lot of people speak English, or if they do speak English, like you don't know they speak English. So it's just hard, like if you don't know what to do, like you can't really ask anybody for help. There's not like any English signs at all in like grocery stores or like on the road or anything like that. So the language is definitely really hard, and just like not ever hearing any English, like it's just all Russian. So that was hard. And then the food was also pretty hard. The first month was really good. My host mom made super yummy food. And then we moved to a summer camp, and it was just like mushy camp food. The first month it was like okay, and then I went on my 2-week vacation and we ate so good. We just ate at like grocery stores. We had like fresh baked goods and lots of fruit and salads and stuff. And then like to go back to camp food, I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot eat this anymore. Like just potatoes and like rice and buckwheat and soup, and I just like couldn't do it anymore. So that's when I bought a lot of snacks and just like didn't eat as much. So yeah, I think the language barrier and the food are probably the 2 hardest, and I would say that that's probably the case for any country that you go to. But then in Ukraine especially, people aren't super friendly there. Like I said, they're not really willing to help you like if you need help. But obviously they're really nice Ukrainians too. So it's just like they're just a very stoic country and culture, and so it's just like a lot of RBFs, and so you know I can kind of fit in with that because I have one. But yeah, those are probably the hardest things. Anything you would do different looking back, and do you wish you went to another country instead? I'm really happy with the way that this summer turned out. Ukraine was definitely not my first choice. I don't think it was anybody's first choice. Actually, one girl's and then our head teachers. But everyone else, like, it was kind of just like a backup option. But yeah, I'm really happy with how it played out. Once they told me that I was assigned to Ukraine, I was still on the wait list for other countries, but I started to research it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool, and it's so cheap. It's like 27 or like 26 hryvnia is $1 US. So like a lot of the stuff that we bought would be like about $1, like under $1. So it was just really cheap. And yeah, it was just, it honestly worked out so well. I'm definitely super excited for China. I really want to go there. I think Thailand would be cool still. My friend is also going to be a head teacher in Costa Rica for the fall semester, and I'm going to go visit her. So I think it would be cool to be there as well. And then I think Uganda would be really cool. But I'm really happy with how it played out. So yeah. What did this trip teach you? This is such a loaded question. I feel like so much. Like I just don't feel like the same person anymore. And like I was looking at old pictures today while I was packing up more of my room, and I was like, I'm not even that like same girl anymore. And it's really sad, actually. It's really sad, but it's really cool just to see how much I've grown. I think for me, just like living with my host family was amazing. To talk to the kids, I had a host brother and a host sister, and they were the sweetest things. And then I also taught them at school, which was really fun. Yeah, just to talk to my host mom, to go, you know, like we went out to celebrate Easter with them, and so just to kind of see how they live, how they interact with each other, how they talk to each other. it's just really, really neat. And then also to work with the kids, it's just such a rewarding thing, and some days are really, really hard. And I taught older kids for the most part, but the last session for 2 weeks I was teaching younger kids, and they were so cute but so hard. So there was definitely a lot of challenges, but I think it was really good for me. I didn't really struggle with it that much, but yeah, I think it just taught me that this world is so big and so different and just so diverse, and just the way that people think and the way that they talk and the way that they live, it's just too big to be lived in one place. And so I'm really like, I'm kind of happy to be back in Cincinnati. Not really. I just want to go out and explore the world and explore different cultures and learn about different people. I think that's what it really taught me, just like, yeah, just how big the world is, how different everybody is, and how similar everyone is. It's a really neat experience. And I feel like it also taught me I felt as though I came out of my shell. I was able to open myself up to talk with all of these strangers that I didn't know, to make really strong friendships with some of the girls, you know, to talk with local coordinators and to strike up conversations here and there and to talk about this. And I feel like I'm just like such a chatty person now. I'm such a social person. And so it's actually been hard being home. I mean, I'm open with this, I really don't have a lot of friends here. So to go from living with, you know, like 10 girls who I really loved, to like not really having any friends or seeing any kids, it's weird and it's hard. So yeah, I think it just taught me to love people. I value relationships a lot more now. I understand how to create relationships, how to form relationships, and just respect and learn about other cultures and stuff. I don't know, I feel like it taught me so much. I'm just so thankful for this experience. Did you ever feel homesick because you were gone for so long? No. Well, okay, there were 3 times. But yeah, I mean, besides this summer, I had never lived outside of my family's house. I had never been away from my family for more than like 10 days. So it was definitely a big jump for me, but I was not scared about it at all. Yeah, so I was homesick 3 times. The first time was the first day that I got there. It was a long day of traveling. I didn't really know any of the girls yet, and we got to the airport, they shoved us in buses and then drove us to our host families. And so I was dropped off first, so they dropped me off at my host family, and my host family left like maybe an hour after I got there. So I was like alone by myself in this new country, and I just cried a lot. Second time, I actually got a really bad ear infection when I was over there. I had a cold and then it like moved to my ear, I guess. So it hurt. It was so incredibly painful. And so my local coordinator took me to the doctors, and then I had to stay home, and then I couldn't teach for 3 days, which was a big bummer because I was just by myself in my room. So I definitely got a little homesick there. I was like, I just want to be sick in my bed at home. And then the last time my dad came to visit me, we went to Greece together, and then he was in Kiev for a couple days. And when he left, I was just like, okay, kind of ready to go home. That last week was really hard for lots of reasons, but it was just kind of like because we were so close to being home, but we weren't. And yeah. What was the hardest thing about being out of the US? I think it's honestly just that people didn't really speak English. Like, I feel like that's it. Just like the language barrier and like the food. Like, I feel like in America we eat like a lot of different stuff. Well, Mexican or Italian or, you know, Indian, Thai. Like, we eat like a bunch of different stuff, whereas over there they just eat like one thing pretty much. Potatoes. And so it was just definitely hard to like eating just a lot of the same stuff. Like, there wasn't a lot of variety, whereas here we have like a huge variety. Yeah, I really didn't miss the US much. I really liked being over there, really liked being abroad. I love traveling, if you didn't know. It's just awesome. So yeah. Next question, favorite spot you visited? Yeah, like I said, I went to 13 countries, which is unreal. I can't believe we went so many places. On our 2-week vacation, we went to 9 countries, and we went to Switzerland and Copenhagen. Those were probably my 2 favorite. Switzerland was like the first place that we went, and we were there for 2 days, and it was just beautiful. We went to Interlaken and Lauterbrunnen, and so you're just like in the midst of like these mountains with like snow caps, and like we did hikes up to the top. We swam in like these like lakes with the mountains. Oh my gosh, it was just so beautiful and just so peaceful and so calm. And it was much needed after living in Kiev, where it's very busy, it's very crowded, it's very dirty, and it was just like nice to be in nature again. I really miss nature. Copenhagen was just super cool. I don't really know what it was about it. The weather was cooler, which was nice, because it was really hot the month of June, and there's no AC. So we were just like sweating our butts off, like just laying in bed. So it was nice to have cooler weather. And it was just really pretty with the canals and the architecture and the parks, and my group just had a really fun time in Copenhagen, so it was super fun. I also really loved London. We did London as a weekend trip, so we were there for like 36 hours, but it was so much fun. I want to go back to London already. It was just such a diverse and different kind of city that I had been to. Like in Kiev, pretty much everyone is white. And so it was really cool to go to a city and just see some diversity again, and just to hear all the different languages. And the architecture was really cool. It's like old but also modern, and it was just so fun. I loved it so much. So yeah, those were my 3 places. I also liked Greece a lot. My dad and I went there and we spent a lot of time at the beach, and then we also did the like ancient Athens one day. Oh, Bratislava, Slovakia also I loved. It was such a cute little town. We were only there for like not even a day, but it was really fun. Okay, so I think the last question I'm going to answer, I just feel like I've been talking for so long, is what was the most rewarding part of it? And I've been thinking about this, and I think it's, I don't know, just like kind of what I said. I feel like I grew and changed so much as a person, and I just love that I just like feel like way more confident in myself and my capabilities. Like, I moved 5,000 miles away into a country where I knew no one, and I was able to get to know the girls and my head teachers and talk and local coordinators and work with kids, you know. Like, I babysit quite frequently for their family, but it was really cool just to work with kids so often and just to talk with them and get to know what's inside their head. I taught older kids most of the time, and just they are so smart. So smart. They would like we had a space week, and they were telling me all about like the solar system and like the stars. And like one kid, he was so cute. It was like my favorite session. I taught the oldest group, so he was like 15, and he was like, oh yeah, like in my free time I just watch physics videos, like it's super fun. I was like, that is so cool. Like in America, obviously you have some of those people, but the vast majority of us don't do that. So they're just like so smart and so curious and interested. And then like the little kids are just so funny. They're so funny, especially when they don't understand you, because like they speak Russian and Ukrainian, and like a lot of them are just learning English or being introduced to English for the first time. And so they have literally like no idea what you're saying sometimes, and they're just so funny and they're so cute. And yeah, I just loved it. I think rewarding being with the kids, teaching the kids, spending time with them, and then also being able to make so many new friends and travel together. We had the best time on our 2-week vacation. We had so much fun together, and it was just really cool to travel with friends. That was like the first time I'd ever done that, and it just completely changed my travel experience. And so yeah, I'm just so happy that I went. And yeah, I'm gonna like wrap this up, but if you're thinking about doing ILP, highly recommend, just do it. I feel like what I've learned is, like, we're so young, at least if you're around my age, and so life is hard. It's really hard. And I feel like, at least in Cincinnati, like, and even with some of like the girls there, like their parents, it's like you have to do, like, you know, you do A, B, C, D, E right in a row. And it's like, you have to graduate high school, you have to go to college, you have to be in college for 4 years, you have to live on campus, you have to have the college experience, and then you have to graduate, and then you have to get a corporate job, buy a house, and then start a family. And it's like, we don't have to do that, you know? Like, I feel like for me, it's like I'm so young. Like, I honestly judged people like kind of a lot after they graduated college and didn't go right into their career. I was like, that's such a waste of a college degree. But what am I doing? I'm graduating college and I'm going to China. And, you know, I'm graduating early, obviously, like a whole year early. But I just think that life is so short, and you have to take the opportunities and you have to be willing to give yourself the opportunities to step outside of your comfort zone, to do something that's going to be really hard and that you know is going to be hard, but you know that it's going to be so good for you, and you're going to grow and you're going to change and you're going to meet new people and you're going to have fun. And so yeah, I just think that like we're so young, so don't be afraid if you're doing something different than your friends or than what your parents want you to do. Like, do what you want to do, travel, see the world, expand your perspectives, expand your understanding of the world and the planet, and see some beautiful cities and nature, and just have fun. Life is too short to be lived in one place. You have to get around, you have to see stuff, because I feel like that's really where happiness and growth comes from. So that's my spiel. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If there are any other questions that you have, feel free to comment them down below or DM me on Instagram. I will definitely answer them. Yeah, moving vlogs will be coming. I'm planning to move the rest of my stuff into my house tomorrow. School starts in about 3 weeks, so then we'll be back to school, college, making my life, stuff like that. And then I have some travel plans in October and December and over spring break that I'm super excited about. As always, be sure to subscribe and follow me on Instagram, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye!